Good afternoon, Jakarta, and welcome back to Jakarta in a Week, where we deliver updates from all around Jakarta and also the world. My name is Tito Dos Santos, and here are today's headlines. Indonesia-Australia signed security pact. Transport incentives announced. Now let's hop on to the first news. Indonesia and Australia have signed a joint security treaty in Jakarta, reaffirming their commitment to deepen defense cooperation and strengthening stability in the Indo-Pacific region.
The agreement was signed during a meeting between Indonesian President Prabowo Subianto and Australian Prime Minister Anthony Albanese. Both leaders stressed that the treaty reflects a shared determination to safeguard national security and contribute to regional peace and stability. Under the new framework, Australia announced expanded joint military training, education exchanges, and closer integration between the two defense forces. The treaty also builds upon the existing security arrangements between the two countries, which share one of the world's longest maritime boundaries. Beyond security, the talks also covered economic cooperation, including agriculture and critical minerals. President Prabowo invited Australian companies to invest in Indonesia's downstream mineral processing and agricultural sectors, while Prime Minister Albanese announced a memorandum of understanding between Australia and Indonesia's sovereign wealth fund Danantara to boost two-way investment. Bilateral trade between the two countries reached approximately $15.4 billion in 2024, according to Indonesia's Ministry of Trade.
Saya dan Perdana Menteri Albanese menegaskan kembali hubungan erat dan komitmen bersama untuk terus memperkuat kemitraan Indonesia-Australia melalui penandatanganan Traktat Keamanan Bersama. Perjanjian keamanan bersama ini mencerminkan tekad kedua negara untuk terus bekerjasama secara erat dalam menjaga keamanan nasional masing-masing, serta berkontribusi nyata bagi perdamaian dan stabilitas kawasan Indo-Pasifik. Bagi Indonesia, hal ini mencerminkan komitmen teguh terhadap prinsip bertetangga baik dan kebijakan luar negeri kita yang bebas aktif.
As I have said, the treaty is a significant extension of our existing security and defence cooperation. It demonstrates the strength of our partnership and depth of our trust and cooperation. Australia and Indonesia share one of the world's longest maritime boundaries, which naturally makes us close partners. But today, we are more than just partners, we are close friends. Today, to complement the Treaty on Common Security, I'm pleased to announce a range of new defence cooperation initiatives that reflect the growing strategic trust and ambition in our relationship, including offering to establish a new embedded position for a senior Indonesian officer in the Australian Defence Force, reflecting and reinforcing that trust between our two nations.
Officials from both sides said the agreement marks a new phase in the strategic partnership between Indonesia and Australia, with greater defense coordination and stronger economic engagement. The two leaders expressed confidence that the relationship will continue to grow stronger, supported by mutual trust, good faith, and shared regional interests. With enhanced security cooperation and expanded economic ties, Indonesia and Australia signal a deepening partnership aimed at promoting stability and prosperity across the Indo-Pacific region.
Coordinating Minister for Economic Affairs Airlangga announces transport incentives ahead of Eid al-Fitr. Measures aim to ease travel, support the public during holiday season.
Ahead of Idul Fitr, the Indonesian government rolled out a series of transportation incentives to ease the holiday travel rush and support regional economic activities. Coordinating Minister for Economic Affairs Erlangga Hartarto outlined measures covering air, sea, rail, and road transport during the Indonesia Economic Summit 2026. The incentives cover flight ticket discounts up to 16%, value-added tax economy class domestic flight tickets borne by the government, 50% discount on airport services by Angkasa Pura and Airport Asia, as well as aviation fuel discount. Not only the air sector, the government also applies a 30% discount on sea transportations and trains, and a 20% discount for toll tariff as an effort to maintain the smooth traffic flow during the homecoming and to boost regional economic activities.
Kita berikan diskon penerbangan itu sampai sekitar 16%, antara lain PPN ditanggung pemerintah, PPN untuk tiket, tapi hanya kelas ekonomi dan hanya domestik, penerbangan domestik. Kemudian Angkasa Pura, Airport Tax-nya akan kasih diskon 50%. Kemudian aftur pun akan ada diskon. Kemudian kedua untuk laut maupun kereta api diskonnya 30%. Kemudian juga akan ada diskon jalan tol sampai dengan 20%.
This transportation incentive is among the government's strategies in securing economic stability and simultaneously providing convenience for the community to travel at affordable prices.
Jakarta provincial government guarantees that food stocks and prices in the capital city are secured and sufficient for Ramadan 2026. The citizens are advised against panic buying.
The statement regarding secured and sufficient food stocks and prices in the capital city during Ramadan 2026 was conveyed by Jakarta Governor Pramono Anung upon a plenary meeting in Jakarta City Hall. As the meeting result, Pramono ordered his staff to routinely monitor food stocks and prices, as well as 3-kilogram LPG cylinders. Pramono emphasized that the current data shows food stocks and prices in the capital city are safe and sufficient during the holidays, such as the holy month Ramadan, Lunar New Year, and Day of Silence.
Dalam kesempatan ini, hal yang menyangkut Ramadan dan Idul Fitri diputuskan beberapa hal. Kami meminta para OPD terkait yang akan mempersiapkan kegiatan Ramadan dan juga Idul Fitri, diantaranya dalam mudik Lebaran, acara Ramadan, dan juga menjaga harga barang-barang pokok tidak mengalami kenaikan, inflasi yang terjaga di Jakarta. Maka tadi ada beberapa hal yang diputuskan. Yang pertama adalah monitoring rutin ketersediaan harga pangan, baik itu beras, daging, LPG 3 kilo, serta kita akan tetap menerapkan apa yang dimiliki oleh Pemda DKI Jakarta mengenai early warning system terhadap harga-harga yang ada di Jakarta. Yang kedua adalah pengawasan keamanan terhadap ketersediaan pangan. Dan dari hasil laporan dari Ibu Asisten yang menangani ini secara khusus, Bu Eli, maka ketersediaan pangan untuk Ramadan dan juga Idul Fitri di Jakarta, termasuk hari-hari besar lainnya, apakah itu Imlek atau Nyepi dan sebagainya, Jakarta dalam kondisi yang aman karena cadangannya mencukupi untuk itu.
Pramono Anung also advised Jakarta citizens not to panic buy or excessively buy food. All food stocks and essential goods are sufficient.
Jakarta provincial government affirms commitment to accelerating transformation towards top 50 world global cities by 2029 through infrastructure strengthening, human resources, and transparent business ecosystem.
It was delivered in the Indonesia Economic Summit, also being the launch of the Indonesia City Investment Accelerator or ACEA. Currently, Jakarta is ranked 71st world global city, up from 74th, and it is targeted to be the top 50 by 2029. Jakarta provincial government mentioned the essential key to increase competitiveness is infrastructure development, human resources strengthening, as well as open and accountable business climate. In 2025, investment realization in Jakarta reached $16.9 billion, an increase of 12% from the previous year. This figure is considered reflecting a high investors' trust amid the uncertainties of global economic conditions. The provincial government prepares additional Transjakarta routes to the airport at an affordable price of 3,500 rupiahs, integrated with the MRT and other transportation services at Block M. Furthermore, ahead of Lunar Year, the provincial government, along with the central government, prepare various events at Lapangan Banteng, Glodok, and Sudirman Tamrin Corridor to create a more festive and colorful atmosphere. Tax incentive is also given to shopping centers who provide discounts during Ramadan until Eid al-Fitr, being a successful strategy to increase transactions in Christmas and New Year up to 15.2 trillion rupiahs. As an effort to handle floods, the provincial government constructs a flyover at Danmogot Corridor as a midterm solution to overcome waterlogging due to river elevation that is higher than the road surface.
Membangun infrastrukturnya, yang kedua adalah sumber daya manusianya, dan yang ketiga adalah ekosistem bisnisnya harus dibuat lebih transparan, terbuka, membuat masyarakat internasional atau investor itu percaya dengan Jakarta. Seperti kita ketahui bersama, Jakarta pada tahun 2025 kemarin, investasi di Jakarta kurang lebih 16,9 miliar US dollar atau 12% naik dari tahun sebelumnya. Ini menunjukkan bahwa kepercayaan publik dalam kondisi ekonomi yang uncertainty seperti ini kepada Jakarta masih sangat tinggi sekali.
With the integrated strategies from the infrastructure, public transportation, investment increase to urban planning, Jakarta provincial government is optimistic that Jakarta can improve its global competitiveness and become one of the top 50 world cities by 2029.
The Center of Coastal and Marine Resources Studies PKSPL of IPB University records a number of strategic achievements last year. The achievements are conveyed directly by the head of PKSPL of IPB University, Professor Jon Wittner, in the dissemination of work achievements at ICC Botany Square.
Head of Center of Coastal and Marine Resources Studies, or PKSPL of IPB University, Professor Jon Wittner said that PKSPL acts as prime mover in developing marine in IPB. By enforcing research-based innovations and community empowerment, PKSPL supports various IPB's innovations, such as sea farming. In addition, they produce many products based on coastal and marine resources, including seaweed and algae. The innovations are not merely oriented to research, but they are directed to support the coastal community's economic growth. All development mechanism is conducted based on community empowerment. From the human resources perspective, PKSPL is currently supported by around 110 researchers, 60 of which are categorized experts. PKSPL prepares fellow program as a coaching platform for young talents. This program is expected to generate competent generations of researchers. Throughout 2025, PKSPL carried out 60 researches, resulting in 58 international publications and around 15 national publications.
Saya kira PKSPL sudah menjadi penentu ya arah dalam pengelolaan pesisir dan kelautan di Indonesia, dan mudah-mudahan terus menjalankan peran tersebut dengan sebaik-baiknya untuk bisa membawa kemajuan pembangunan kelautan dan perikanan kita. Jadi kita akan terus memperkuat kapasitas ya, PKSPL dan juga pusat-pusat lain di IPB, terutama untuk terus meningkatkan SDM.
Terkait dengan lingkungan pesisir laut, ya, kemudian terkait dengan bioteknologi laut, terkait dengan kerentanan pesisir, kemudian juga terkait dengan pemberdayaan masyarakat, pendampingan sosial ekonomi, budidaya laut juga kita ada, kemudian juga terkait dengan berbagai aktivitas berupa pendampingan masyarakat dan pemerintah daerah.
In 2026, PKSPL aims for better achievements, such as the increased research fundings, human resources capacity and quality, bigger contributions to national targets and IPB University.
Art exhibition and auction entitled Art for Sumatra Night is held at the Contemporary Art Gallery of Taman Mini Indonesia Indah, Jakarta. The event is a collaboration between artists and art enthusiasts to support humanitarian acts for people affected by disasters in Sumatra.
Art for Sumatra Night presents tens of artists and collectors in one art appreciation room, which also becomes the space for social fundraising. 22 paintings were sold through an auction process in the event. The artwork curation process in the exhibition not only considers their visual beauty, but also underscores the messages and ideas that raise empathy value toward people who are affected by disasters. One of the participating artists showcases his art entitled Night Seems Longer, describing a group of people who survive amid limitations but hold hope for a better future.
Aku milih itu karena relate banget sama situasi sekarang ya. Jadi judulnya itu Night Seems Longer, jadi kayak malam yang terasa lebih lama daripada biasanya. Nah itu aku ngangkat tentang suatu kelompok yang bersembunyi dari ancaman luar. Terus ketika keadaan makan, lampu cahaya itu terbatas, tapi mereka masih optimis untuk yakin kalau besok pagi itu bahkan lagi datang gitu.
The event becomes a collaboration platform for artists across regions, including the community from Sumatra, to encourage social solidarity through arts. All funds raised from the sale of paintings will be distributed to humanitarian programs and community recovery in various regions across Sumatra.
Pada karya yang dekorasi pada di acara lelang ini yang lapa-lapa ini, itu bukan hanya dari visual doang, tapi kita fokusin pada gagasan ini, gagasan yang benar-benar relate banget sama teman-teman yang keadaan bencana sekarang. Terus bukan hanya bentuk dari fenomena bencana aja, tapi lebih ke empati rasa yang kita ke masyarakat ini.
Art for Sumatra Night underlines that art is not merely an expression medium, but it also acts as a platform to raise concern and real action for humanity.
Make sure to stick around as we will bring you more national and global news right after this commercial break. Stay tuned on Jakarta in a Week.
Distinguished colleagues and friends at TVRI, it is my great pleasure to congratulate you for being appointed as the official broadcaster of the FIFA World Cup 2026 in Indonesia. Of course, TVRI is known for their commitment in showcasing the world's most exciting sporting events to Indonesian fans. And we know you will do an excellent job in delivering the biggest show on earth, the FIFA World Cup, to audiences in your country. We look forward to our partnership with TVRI as we prepare for the biggest and most inclusive FIFA World Cup in history. Thank you.
The shipment is part of Operation Chivalrous Night 3, an Emirati initiative aimed at supporting Palestinians in the Gaza Strip amid ongoing humanitarian challenges. According to officials, the first batch entered Gaza 4 days after the vessel docked in Al Arish, marking the 12th aid ship sent by the UAE since the start of the conflict. The humanitarian vessel departed from Ras Al Khaimah port in January. carrying food and essential supplies intended to reach families before Ramadan begins.
اليوم الدفعة الأولى من مساعدات سفينة صقر الإنسانية التي وصلت ميناء العريش قبل 4 أيام. لتبدأ هذه المساعدات رحلتها إلى الأشقاء في قطاع غزة عبر منظومة عمل متكاملة ومنظمة يقودها فريق المساعدات الإنسانية الإماراتية هنا في العريش. هذا الفريق الذي يعمل ليلا نهارا وعلى مدار الساعة وفي مختلف الظروف الصعبة من خلال المركز اللوجستي للمساعدات الإنسانية الإماراتية في العريش بهدف إيصال مساعدات إلى مستحقيها. وتؤكد دولة الإمارات العربية المتحدة من خلال عملية الفار الشام 3 التزامها الراسخ بدعم الأشقاء الفلسطينيين في قطاع غزة والتخفيف من معاناتهم.
As Ramadan approaches, more aid convoys are expected to follow, with Emirati officials saying humanitarian support for Gaza will continue in the weeks ahead.
Hundreds of Gazans and UNRWA employees took to the streets to protest staff reductions and service cuts, warning the moves could have dangerous consequences for Palestinian refugees.
Protesters gathered outside a damaged UNRWA school in Gaza City under the slogan, "UNRWA is a red line," holding placards and Palestinian flags in a show of solidarity. Demonstrations warned that more than 70% of Palestinians are registered refugees and said any reduction in humanitarian aid or employment would deepen an already severe economic crisis. The protest follows an announcement by UNRWA's Commissioner General of reduced working hours due to an unprecedented financial shortfall, a measure that took effect earlier this month. For decades, thousands of families in Gaza have relied on UNRWA for education, healthcare, and basic assistance, making the agency a crucial lifeline amid ongoing conflict and economic decline.
من 70% من الشعب الفلسطيني هو لاجئ. تقليص المساعدات الإنسانية وتشغيل الموظفين الفلسطينيين من خلال الأونروا بالتأكيد سيكون له تبعات سلبية وخطيرة، لأن المواطنين الفلسطينيين اللاجئين خاصة هم عملوا بهذه المنظمة على أساس أن يعودوا إلى ديارهم عام 48، ولذلك كيف سيتم القضاء على الأونروا؟ إسرائيل تريد أن تقضي على حلم الشعب الفلسطيني بالحرية والاستقلال وبالعودة، وهذا مفروض رفضه.
احنا اليوم جايين لحماية الوكالة ورفض التقلصات التعسفية من قبل الإدارة العليا للوكالة، واحنا جايين بنحكي الوكالة خط أحمر، لأن الوكالة هي شريان الحياة للاجئين الفلسطينيين.
As financial pressure on the agency continues, Gazans say the future of education, healthcare, and basic survival for millions of refugees now hangs in the balance.
Beijing residents are busy shopping for festival goods and enjoying lantern shows as they prepare to welcome the upcoming Lunar New Year of the Horse.
Markets across Beijing are seeing a surge in visitors ahead of the Lunar New Year. Residents flock to special festival markets to buy spring couplets, decorations, and traditional foods. Stands selling red couplets, horse-themed ornaments, fruits, candies, and festive delicacies attract families and shoppers of all ages. The Year of the Horse is the 7th sign in the 12-year Chinese zodiac cycle. It is traditionally associated with high energy, intelligence, and a free-spirited and independent character. As night falls, parks and public spaces come alive with colorful lantern shows. Large-scale lanterns, including horse-shaped designs, draw crowds who stop to take photos and videos. The festive activities not only celebrate culture and tradition, but also boost local consumption ahead of the holiday. The Lunar New Year of the Horse will be celebrated later this month, marking a time of renewal, family gatherings, and cultural festivities across China.
Hundreds of fossils and skeletons are being carefully moved at Paris's Natural History Museum as major renovation work begins in one of its oldest galleries.
The Paleontology and Comparative Anatomy Gallery is undergoing fire safety renovations, prompting the relocation of more than 600 specimens. The collection includes skulls, fossils, and massive skeletons, some of which have not been moved for over a century. Museum staff are using specialized equipment and scaffolding to lower and transport fragile items, including elephant skulls, mammoth skeletons, and rare animal remains. Officials say the move is a precaution to protect the collection from vibrations caused by construction work. The operation is also seen as a rare opportunity for scientists to inspect and restore specimens, many of which date back to the late 19th century.
Il va y avoir un chantier de mise en sécurité incendie qui va impacter certaines zones de la galerie et on sort les spécimens de collection qui sont à proximité des zones qui vont être les plus touchées potentiellement par les vibrations de ces travaux.
We are carrying out fire safety work, and we are removing specimens that could be affected by vibrations to ensure their protection. Museum officials say many of the objects are extremely fragile and require extra care during the move. The gallery will remain closed during the renovation period, as one of France's most important scientific collections is safeguarded for future generations.
A pea-sized snail once thought to have vanished has been brought back from the brink of extinction, according to Chester Zoo in the United Kingdom.
The greater Bermuda land snail had not been seen for years until a small group was discovered in an alleyway in Hamilton, Bermuda in 2014. Some of the snails were then transferred to Chester Zoo, where conservation experts spent years breeding the species in controlled conditions. Thousands were later released back into the wild in 2019. Scientists have now confirmed that 6 colonies have successfully established themselves across the Bermudan archipelago. The findings were published in the Oryx Biodiversity Conservation Journal. Unique to Bermuda, the snail is a relic of the island's ancient ecosystem, with a lineage dating back more than 1 million years. Experts say the recovery represents one of the rarest achievements in wildlife conservation.
It really is touching because a lot of people don't give snails enough credit. I mean, they're such a massive part of the ecosystem and they do a lot for the decomposition of like plant matter and the recycling of nutrients into the soil, and they're often overlooked. And I mean, I will forever be an advocate for the snail, and it's so nice that we're actually giving these guys attention.
While conservationists caution the species is not safe forever, they say the success proves extinction can be reversed with science, persistence, and long-term habitat protection.
And that concludes today's edition of Jakarta in a Week. I'm Tito Dos Santos, representing the whole crew present. Goodbye and have a nice weekend.